What's up guys, BltzZ here today bringing you another video. In today's video we got some news drops from a recent interview in Famitsu talking to Nomura. In this video we're about to cover the latest information regarding Final Fantasy VII's recently announced 3 new titles. From the first Soldier Battle Royale game that everyone's excited for, yay, Remake Intergrade with Yuffie's DLC, and of course Ever Crisis, which is my most anticipated game. This week is shaping up to be a busy one, so without further ado, let's get into this video. Starting off with everyone's most anticipated Game of the Year candidate, First Soldier, the interviewer asked Nomura, "It's surprising that the Final Fantasy series will be including a Battle Royale type game with Final Fantasy VII, the First Soldier. Fans of Final Fantasy VII are of course intrigued, but this also appeals to other types of gamers as well. There are similar games out there such as PUBG, Fortnite, Apex Legends, Knives Out, etc. So who exactly is this work targeting?" Nomura says, "While the fans of Final Fantasy VII have stuck with the IP for a very long time, we wanted to tackle the challenge of appealing to people outside of the Final Fantasy market. While I feel like the big name of Final Fantasy VII will always overshadow this, we're pretty much entering this popular genre as a completely new challenger with Final Fantasy VII First Soldier. Those who play the Battle Royale genre games might not even know Final Fantasy VII or have even ever played a Final Fantasy game before. While we hope that those who played this game are already interested in the world of Final Fantasy VII, we just can't release a lukewarm title. So we're really putting our all into making this game. Since this is a new genre for us, it might also be a new experience for Final Fantasy VII fans as well. We hope you guys can join us in this challenge." So yeah, there you go. Nomura just straight up confirmed that this game would not be able to stand up on its own, so they went ahead and slapped Final Fantasy VII on it, which of course will bring them plenty of players in the beginning. As the game's lifecycle goes on after the hype, maybe it dies down, and all they can really hope for is to retain a certain amount of players. There is absolutely zero chance that this game is very successful and wins awards. Is it going to be bad? Most likely. Are we going to play it? Yeah, goddamn right we will be. I will be playing this game on BlueStack's Android PC emulator, so sorry in advance for my opponents getting their cheeks clapped by BltzZ, the sweaty mouse and keyboard user. You know what I mean? Are the 3 players that appear on the top left screen your comrades? There are job icons that represent a fist, a sword, and a staff, but can you also change jobs during battles? Nomura says, "While in Final Fantasy VII you are not able to change jobs, this element is unique and does exist in other Final Fantasy games, so we decided to incorporate it. As you might have guessed, each player can decide on their own job, referred to as style, in this game. So that's what those icons mean. Each style has its own power and skills, and you can set this during each battle. There's also an advantage to stick with only one style, and we will explain more about this in a different time." The interviewer also asked, "Do you have plans for a beta test?" And Nomura says, "We have plans to distribute a closed beta test with details announced later." This is one aspect I'm absolutely interested in for this game. The fact that the job classes from Final Fantasy seem present. We may have a monk, traditional sword user. This, aside from the summons, are an aspect which will make them stand out above the rest, before it eventually and inevitably comes crashing down. I hope we get an opportunity to join in on the beta test, but I don't see that version being available on BlueStack's emulator right away, so I'll definitely be playing that on mobile. Every Battle Royale needs something that makes them stand out and also makes them unique, like Fortnite has the building mechanics and Call of Duty has their bullshit, and cheaters to go with it. Is there anything you were particular about in regards to Final Fantasy VII The First Soldier? Nomura says, "Most of my concerns center around the gameplay. I personally put a lot of weight on the feel of the game. However, it's important to find good balance for what Battle Royale players want. One of the game's core planners, producer Ichikawa, is a hardcore Battle Royale gamer, and as such is very keen to hearing feedback from everyone and making adjustments accordingly. I've given my own amateur feedback, and since he is very well versed in the game, he's able to answer the ideas I give him with exactly how they can be represented in a Battle Royale game. I'm able to talk with him without any hesitation, and regarding the graphics, we're working to ensure that the visuals for the smartphone do not disappoint." I think it's very well known by now that the graphics in any Final Fantasy title, hell, any product from Square, usually is a banger with not many visual drop-offs. So even though it is a mobile game, I do have high hopes that the visual quality of this game will be nothing short of amazing. However, the gameplay though, we still have to wait and see for more of that. I have a Samsung Fold 2, so I'm definitely looking forward to seeing how it looks on that device. Then of course we have our PC emulator. Alright, now let's get into the games that we are absolutely excited for. In regards to Final Fantasy VII Remake Intergrade, the interviewer asked Nomura, "Let's talk about the new character Sonon. Can you tell us a bit about his design and concept?" Nomura says, according to his character profile, he's originally from Wutai and works with Avalanche. He's made to look Asian and wears clothes that resemble that of an army. so he's fitted with armor as well. We wanted a character that balances with Yuffie and to be a staff wielder as well. His clothes also allow him to move around freely. In the beginning, we originally planned for him to be a lit and extremely attractive man. However, we ended up making him look more manly since Yuffie is different than what she's like with Cloud or Vincent. So we thought it would be interesting to see how she interacts with him. So Nomura knows damn well Vampire Daddy Vincent is super attractive, and I could not agree more. Sonon's design and background sounds super interesting. I'm happy we'll be able to see some Dragoon combat as well since he is wielding a staff technically. His direct ties with Avalanche sound pretty cool too, so I'm looking forward to seeing what other influences has Sonon had on Midgar for Remake that we have yet to notice thus far. We saw that Yuffie and Sonon can do co-op moves together. We want to explore a bit more of the battle concept. First off, can you explain what those small icons mean next to the ATB gauge? Nomura says since the player can only control Yuffie, you will still get a feel of where Sonon is nearby as well as his movements. There is a mode where Sonon can act on his own, or another mode where he fights when given specific orders by Yuffie. You can switch between these two modes with the L2 button, so that's what the icon means. Okay, absolutely cool. Even though we cannot control Sonon like the other characters, we can still switch between two modes where we can give him orders that coincide with Yuffie's gameplay, or you can let him do his own thing. I'll definitely be messing around with it to see if we can get some crazy combos together and pop off. But aside from that, hopefully this is a sign of great things to come for the future of Remake. In part 1, we had lots of issues where the computer controlling our teammate would do questionable things, such as Aerith walking off of her arcane ward and would get into melee range when she is a range specialist. I mean, if she had her chair, I could definitely understand her wanting to get up close and personal, don't get me wrong. But these new commands and presets to have characters play a specific way may help out the computer AI for our teammates going forward. Will there be new materia and summons? Nomura says yes, there will be new materia and summons only available in Yuffie's DLC. And also, are there plans for DLC after this? Nomura says for the sake of separating the PS5 upgrade with Yuffie's added parts, we had to call this part DLC. However, we had already decided to create a Final Fantasy VII Remake PS5 version, but we did not want it to mean that we were specifically creating DLC as well. As a result, we really don't have any plans for other DLC with Final Fantasy VII Remake Intergrade. We're able to adjust to the PS5 environment, which makes for an easy transition to development for the next installment. The roadwork we have already laid out to complete the entire story takes priority, and if we are ever to add DLC, it will not be until everything has been already done. I personally cannot wait to see what other materia and summons Yuffie will have access to in her DLC. Audrey made a mistake she later corrected on about these translations. She actually meant summons instead of monsters, so I hope we get to see quite a few new summons as well. It's also very surprising news that they have no plans to do future or more DLC for Remake. With the release date being some time away, I was wondering if they'd explore giving us Red 13 eventually to hold us over. His last statement to me means that they have had this Yuffie DLC in the works for quite some time, so that may not be the case for Red 13, at least right now. The Intergrade was a way for them to gear things over for the next gen to focus on the capabilities for all of that. So part 2 is looking more promising. And now for Ever Crisis, which is the project that I'm most excited to see more information on. The interviewer asked Nomura, lastly, let's talk about Final Fantasy VII Ever Crisis. In our previous interview, you mentioned that the game will be released in chapters. Will the chapters be free and include the story too? And also, what exactly is the in-game transaction part? Nomura says each chapter will be free to play. In regards to the in-game transactions, it refers to the weapon gacha. You'll be able to get special weapons or new costumes that don't exist in the original game, and this will add to the experience. And there it is, we have official confirmation that Ever Crisis will be a free-to-play experience. And it'll also have gacha elements when it comes to getting even better weapons. They had to find a way to monetize it somehow, and there we go, guys. For weapons, I don't see them making a crazy huge deal of a difference to break the bank for the gacha aspect of it. I plan to play this entirely free to play. I've done well with this on Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Links, Dragon Ball Legends, and recently Genshin Impact, all of which I have yet to spend a single dollar on. I just hope there's enough events in Ever Crisis to reward us with in-game currency to enjoy the free-to-play aspect of it. Looking at you, Pokemon Masters. But the costumes sound absolutely amazing, especially if we get Barrett's sailor outfit or Tifa's dresses. I'm sorry guys, then a simp away I go. The interviewer asked Nomura next, why is it that only 30% of people that watch and love these videos are currently subscribed? Guys, being a subscriber is totally free and helps support the channel out a ton. We are in hot pursuit of 100,000 subscribers, and once we hit that mark, I will be doing the Honeybee Inn dance as Cloud from Remake Part 1. So make sure you guys don't miss that and become a subscriber today and help make your dreams come true. Trust me, they're your dreams. The interviewer actually asked Nomura, what's the length of each chapter like? Can you give us an example of how long the original Final Fantasy VII story will be? Nomura says the original Final Fantasy VII will be condensed into about 10 chapters. To elaborate, it will take about 3 chapters to escape from Midgar, and the other compilation titles will probably follow around the same chapter pacing. That's actually very interesting to hear that it will be about 10 chapters long for the original Final Fantasy VII, and then hearing that it will take about 3 chapters to leave Midgar sounds absolutely crazy to me. I hope Chapter 3 covers at least the escape of Midgar, then the flashback of Calm, because if that's the case, then 10 chapters does not sound crazy long to me at all. I still want to know how they will do this. Are we going to be getting the overworld to walk around in? So many questions, but so much more time we have to wait, guys. Jeez. But to hear that other games will follow a similar breakdown is super interesting too, because Advent Children you would think would technically be the shortest because at most it's a 2-hour movie. So we may get extra content and flashbacks packed into that. Maybe. What do you guys think about this? Will Final Fantasy VII Ever Crisis have any original episodes? Nomura says yes, we actually have some original episodes planned. First off is a story that will take place in Final Fantasy VII First Soldier, the Battle Royale game that they were talking about earlier. The story for First Soldier takes place 30 years prior when Soldier was still in the middle of being established. As such, the younger versions of a certain hero, as well as Shinra employees and even other characters who will appear in the next installment of Remake, will be present as well. It will give you a deeper understanding of characters who were not talked about much in the main story. Whoa, now we all had speculations of course that the First Soldier would be all about Sephiroth, but this could mean so many other things too. Since the game takes place about 30 years prior to Final Fantasy VII's timeline, younger versions of a certain hero could very well be Vincent, since he was a Turk around the time Sephiroth was conceived and born. Then injected with alien baby juice from a one bullseye nipple Genova, this could also showcase Sephiroth at a very early age too, since he technically was a hero. So many ideas are popping up right now. Other employees will also make an appearance from Shinra, so we just might get some more backstory and a deeper outlook thanks to Ever Crisis when it comes to the story of First Soldier. But also aside from that, he did say that some of these characters would be introduced in the next installment of Remake. So if this man is talking about Vincent, then holy shit guys, are we going past Nibelheim in Remake Part 2? Did he just inadvertently confirm that? Let me know what you guys think about that in the comments below. During the announcement trailer, we see the characters fighting the Scorpion Sentinel at the Mako reactor. Since Aerith is also in the fight, does this mean that it's a battle that takes place outside of the main story? Nomura says aside from the story mode with the journey of Cloud and the others, we have also prepared special dungeons and battles that take place outside of the compilation. You can create your own dream party and have fun challenging strong enemies. Okay, so to me, this means we will be able to redo certain fights with our own custom party, similar to what the VR training room does, but we can revisit challenges with other characters who we've never even seen in that specific area, such as how we see Aerith in the trailer, which shocked many people fighting the Scorpion Sentinel. Creating my own dream party and then going on a rampage, hell yes, I am definitely down for this. But this also, of course, means that in between chapter releases, as we wait for the game to get more content every month, we could very well have all of these extra missions to hold us over in the meanwhile. I hope at least. Will the music be rearranged for this game? Nomura says yes, we will be rearranging the music using the original Final Fantasy VII as its base. The interviewer also asked, are there any other parts for Final Fantasy VII Ever Crisis that you were particular about? Nomura says, I was rather particular about having all the games fit the style of the original Final Fantasy VII, where the field map features mini stylized versions of the characters, while the battles had the full versions. This rule wasn't present in other compilation titles, and the battle systems were all very different from each other. For this game, we are making sure that all compilation titles follow this type of format, while also preserving the essence of each game. It's vital to have an interesting battle system, so I was very strict with my views on this. While we have heard from many that they want to play each compilation title on a console instead of on the phone, Ever Crisis will not be a substitute for that. Instead, the game is designed so that anyone can pick it up and enjoy the various titles of Final Fantasy VII freely. Come on, interviewer, we all know that when it comes to Square, the music is always going to be fire. I honestly thought that eventually, maybe on the Nintendo Switch, we would get the Ever Crisis titles to make an appearance, but Nomura says that they are on mobile to be able to give every player in the world a chance to experience these games. But also hearing that all the compilation games from before Crisis, Dirge of Cerberus, Advent Children, Crisis Core will all follow the same style of combat is freaking amazing to me. Especially considering that every single one of these games mentioned had very different battle systems, except Advent Children because it was a goddamn movie. Maybe eventually Square could consider releasing these on console, I hope, but till then we're going to be playing and enjoying these on PC as much as we can, guys. And finally, the interviewer says, Final Fantasy VII Remake is now free to play on PlayStation Plus, and it seems like the hype for Final Fantasy VII Remake continues on this year. Nomura says, "We'll be busy with the Final Fantasy VII series not just this year, but next year and the year after that, so each year will be intense. In regards to the Final Fantasy VII series, consider the current news as the first wave. We hope you look forward to more. First off is Final Fantasy VII Remake Intergrade, which will be out on June 10th. We will also lift the ban on certain streaming restrictions greatly, which also applies to Final Fantasy VII Remake Intergrade as well. I enjoy watching live streams, so I hope that you guys take this opportunity to share the experience with as many people as possible." Hold up. Lifting the ban on certain streaming regulations? Guys, will I finally stop being copyrighted by this asshat who claims that Aerith's theme song is his own created song, which he calls Departure to Slumberland? No, seriously, check that out, guys. It's crazy. This guy is claiming Aerith's theme song as his own and has copyrighted me every time the music plays on a video of mine, and many other streamers as well. Square, check up on your boy, please. But seriously, this is huge because many of our Final Fantasy streams get copyrighted and we're either forced to share revenue or the video is blocked in certain countries for people to not enjoy them. Or drastically enough, they take all the revenue. To hear that they're being more lax on this is very good news. I hope Nomura tunes into us playing some of these titles from time to time as well. But this is the right mindset. Being able to showcase the best gameplay I can to you all is my goal always on this channel. And it's great that companies are recognizing that their streaming laws make it hard to do that. And ultimately, it's giving them more exposure for fans to get into the games and enjoy the content, making them more money. Final Fantasy VII Remake Intergrade drops on June 10th, and I hope you guys are ready and excited to jump into that game as well as Yuffie's DLC with me. And that wraps it up for this video, guys. Another great article with some solid information. Audrey, thank you as always for the hard work you go through to get us this stuff. Everyone be sure to follow her on Twitter and tell her thank you for all of this because it would not be possible without her. I'm super excited as we have less than 3 months till Remake Intergrade drops, and holy hell, guys, it's looking to be a crazy week so far for us, especially since we had all this news drop on us. Then we have another event on Sunday to cover with Remake Intergrade showcasing as well as the Resident Evil showcase to go with it. Be sure to like the video if you enjoyed and subscribe if you are new. More Final Fantasy VII Remake videos are coming your way and you won't want to miss them. My name is BltzZ and thanks for watching.